back, baby. Week 1. Can't wait. Been preparing for this for 100 days now, and here we are. Excited to get back to U.S. Bank. Glad to be back in front of you all. Be together for 17-plus weeks, hopefully, and it'll be a great start. As you look at it, training camp, the messaging for our group has really been, how do we build supreme confidence and how do we find consistency in our game and competing amongst one another at the highest level on a daily basis. And as we transition to the season, now it turns from competing with one another to how can we all contribute to what the ultimate goal is for the 2023 season for the Minnesota Vikings. And if you aren't contributing to that, well, you're competing now against that. And so now it becomes collaborating, finding ways to help each other, service one another, and how do we find a way to put together a great plan to execute it on Sundays. And so with that, I'll turn it over.
Matt, I don't know if you saw Josh Metellus sign a contract extension, and I guess what kind of pride do you have when you see a player?
Man, it's so funny, Josh Metellus. First thing I would say is that I wasn't sure that I would receive much greater news or excitement this week after my alma mater took down Clemson Monday night. Shout out to Coach Elko and the Dukies for getting that done. But Josh Metellus actually spoke to the team during training camp, and he basically kind of told his story. 6th-round draft pick, got cut that same year. It was a COVID year, so obviously there were no preseason games. He was released, ended up on the practice squad, found a way to the active roster kind of throughout that year. And he just kind of talked about the adversity that he went through. And at the end of the day, for him to start off his career like that, be released, end up on the practice squad, find a way onto the football field, kind of find his niche from a special team standpoint. Unbelievable year that he had on ST, as well as stepping in when Harrison was out, contributing, having an impact there. And you look at it, and I tell the group all the time that if you just do the work, the money will come. Right? And if you be so good that they can't deny you, everything else will work itself out. Football always has a way of working itself out. And that's just a true testament to who Josh Metellus is as a player, the dedication that he has, the type of teammate that he is. I mean, he's as unselfish as anybody comes in this building. I mean, he's dang near here. At the same time, I'm here preparing, getting ready, recovering the right way. And so for him to have that success and for him to sign that contract is a true testament to who he is and the journey that he's come and the adversity he's hit. And I'm excited as ever for it. And good to know that I'll have him back next year. So check that off the box.
As you said earlier, as his star rises on defense, do you get as many reps with him on special teams?
Yeah, we've had that conversation, and quite frankly, he's still going to be in the same exact roles, carrying out the same exact 4 phases. Although the amount of snaps he will be taking on defense will be heavily increased from what it was a year ago. But he wants those reps. He doesn't want to be out on any phase or any rep. And so with that, your condition just got to be better, Josh. And so with that, we're prepared the right way. But he doesn't want to miss a snap.
With Najee Thompson, I know that he likes to be called Flash. But for a young guy he's dedicated to special teams. What do you like most for him going into this first game?
Yeah, I think for him, he's got obviously, like I mentioned, like training camp was all about building that supreme confidence and finding that consistency. And if you watch the tape, as we all have, he has that. He has that confidence. He found a way to find consistency in his play on game day throughout the week, throughout his preparation. And so with that, him coming in, he knew what he had to do to make this team, and he did it. And so as you look to really kind of fill that Boyd role that kind of left there, he's stepping into some shoes that's, it's going to be big to fulfill. But I'm excited. He's excited. He comes up, meets with me and Coach DG every single day about what the practice plan is, what are we looking for him out of there, and how intentional does he have to be in order to get the job done. And so I'm excited for that player. And he'll be able to go into this week and this game with a quieted mind, knowing that he's done everything he needed to do and prepared the right way to go out and execute and do the same thing he did, in the preseason. That's just make plays.
What was the process of, identifying him?
It's funny, Alex. So I actually found this player his junior year, and when we were in draft meetings, I was speaking highly on him, and they're like, hey, he's not even coming out this year. And I'm like, oh, shoot. Well, dang. Well, next year we got to find a way to get this guy. But, you kind of just do your research. I actually had a cousin of mine, my first cousin, actually played at Georgia Southern. And he kind of mentioned them to me about this guy. And so from there, I did my research. He was an All-American special teams player, former receiver, turned corner. And so with that, you just cut on the tape. I mean, he's just flying around, flashing everywhere. And it's just so funny because me and Coach Gibson, after he made the first two plays, we were like, this is exactly what it looked like in college. Like, there's no difference. So it's good to see that carry over from a collegiate level over to the NFL level to where this is the exact guy that you saw on tape. You good.
How do you describe Brandon Powell's punt return?
Aggressive, which is, same like mind as myself. I mean, he wants to return every single ball if he can. He wants to attack, cover teams fearlessly, vertically. At the end of the day, that's kind of what our philosophy is how quickly can we get vertical with the football. And he wants to do that. Quite frankly, he's not looking to fair catch the ball, whether it's gunners in his face. And he does a great job of being a decision maker back there. And I think that's the number one thing that you have to do. And what the requirement is as a punt returner is be a great decision maker back there, especially with guys flying down 20 mile per hour in your face. Balls might kind of be on the ground right there. How quickly can I communicate to the zeros and everybody else to get out of the way? But I'm excited about this player. He's going to have a huge impact for us.
What's your comfort level with Ty and kickoff return?
Really, really high. You look at it, obviously there's a difference between a punt returner and a kick returner, especially with the kick returner being a guy that you want to have elite contact balance, and Ty Chandler does have that. From a running back standpoint, you look at him and, all he does is fall forward. All he does is find a way to make positive yardage out of what seems to be a negative play. And so Ty is a guy that has had success in college. He's done it at an elite level. When he was at Tennessee, he had like a 91-yard kickoff return that went to the crib, averaged 23, 24 yards of return in college. And so you look at it, this is a guy that has had success doing it. You can't take anything away from Kane. I mean, let's be honest, he's an all-pro, elite, freaking returner. And so those are going to be big shoes that Ty Chandler's going to have to fill. But nothing better than blocker returner relationship, and blockers have the ultimate confidence in TC that he's going to go out there and perform at the same exact level as Kane did. So we'll see. But guys are juiced up about it.
Does Ty have the same latitude to take it out as Kane did?
Absolutely. And so, we'll see how it plays out, Dean, just in terms of how we want to go about that. But he still's got that same leeway as Kane did, because I truly do believe that he's an elite level returner that just hasn't had the opportunity to do it.
Man, I think he had a long return, not this preseason, but last year.
Yeah, versus Vegas. Mm-hmm.
What do you remember about that, and why didn't he get some returns this year?
I think the biggest thing was with us sitting Deuce down, he had to insert in as really kind of being that starter running back. So didn't want to expose him from a KOR standpoint to where, risk of injury and anything like that, especially when we went into the game with only 3 backs. And so that's kind of the reason why he didn't get any reps during the preseason. As far as the return last year that he had against Vegas, he actually got smacked in the hole, which brings me back to the point of a kickoff returner. You want to have great contact balance and ability to break tackles. And so he ended up kind of getting smacked, spun out of a tackle, and kind of broke outside right there. I think it ended up being like a 50, 60-yard return.
You met that meeting or whatever you said, Metellus addressed the team. Was that the entire team?
That was the entire team. That was to the entire team, and it was awesome. Kirk spoke to the entire team. Metellus spoke to the entire team, and so it's always good to be able to hear, whether it's a message you want to deliver or a story you want to tell just about yourself. We're big on chemistry in this building. Really getting to know your teammate, because at the end of the day, we always say it all the time about seeking hard truths. Right, and in order to seek those hard truths, you got to be able to know and understand how to communicate to your teammate and how he's going to accept, those hard truths.
We talked a lot in training camp about synergy between offense, defense, special teams this year. How have you seen that show itself?
I think the biggest thing is you get the addition of Brian Flores, who is an aggressive play caller. Wants to send heavy pressure. You look at how our offense is a attack mindset, right? Very, very good. Finding ways to manipulate defenses with their tempo, their cadence, attacking mindset. But then you look at how we approach special teams with a simple approach and an aggressive mindset. Everyone has an attacking, aggressive mindset that we're going to push the envelope forward. We're going to find ways to be creative. We're going to find holes and niches, and always trying to find basically how can we make a fight not fair. And that's basically how we kind of go into games of never fighting a fair fight because of our tempo, because of certain techniques or fundamentals that we're putting on display and tools that we're giving to our players to kind of make it to where we're always on the upper side of things.
Last couple for coach.
From that conference, like how many players advance to the desk of an NFL special teams coach in the draft, even if it's 2 years ahead of time, based purely on projection that they're not only projection on special teams, but that's what they're good at in college too.
Right. That's a good question, Kevin. And the thing is I would say that I have to give a lot of credit to our scouting department and the general manager Kwesi on that, because a lot of the times some organizations might not see true value in a guy that's strictly a special teams player, because it's like, does he offer any corner depth, or does he have any other value outside of that? Not to say that Najee Thompson does not have that, but a lot of the times, when you're looking at a guy and say, he can only do this. Well, a lot of time you might look to go upgrade at that position, but you look to upgrade on the secondary of, he has add value as a backup corner. Well, now you're losing, the true elite level of special teams play that you'll end up getting out of that player. And so you look at it as a guy, as Najee, I would say it's not really rare, just kind of, it depends on who the organization is and how much value they place on special teams.
Matt, now that it's the regular season and the new kickoff rule, is the kickoff dying, or is it dead? Or
We'll see. I quite frankly, I don't think it's gonna die, or I think it'll still live on. Quite frankly, I'll give it until about the first 2 or 3 weeks on how things go. I anticipate special team coordinators just, keeping things same until about, 2-3 weeks in, maybe getting penalties. You dealing with a head coach that's an offensive play caller, and he doesn't like starting at the 15-yard line, 10-yard line, and he's gonna say, all right, that's enough. Let's end that. Let's start fair catching the football. And so then, the philosophies really kind of stay same until I'm told otherwise.
what about the flip side when you're kicking off? How long do you give that? If you're confident you can tackle a guy inside the 10?
Yeah, absolutely. It always, you kind of go into a week-to-week basis on who the kickoff returner is, how dangerous is he, how confident do we feel in, us having an advantage versus their blockers from a KOR standpoint. And so that'll be a week-to-week basis, just in terms of how we want to kind of play that out.
Who did you watch the Duke-Clemson game with, and how did you react when you knew that Duke was going to win?
I was telling everybody the entire day, Riley Leonard is going to make a name for himself tonight, to be nationally known, and I'm still looking for Andrew Booth if anybody's found him. It was I was in my office watching it with Coach Gibson, and everybody in the office is hearing me. Every single play is or yeah. Well, most times good screens around the office, so everybody's coming in, throughout the game. But it's just one thing when you come in the next day, and the storylines is, oh man, Clemson is trash, but it's like, why can't we just be good? Hey, come on, man. Give us credit. We just played a heck of a game. Defense was flying around, and Coach Echo's done a great job with that group. I'm excited about it. Got a tough schedule, so it'll be interesting to see. We keep climbing.
Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate y'all. Go Duke.